Yo, Abby. To start off, I just wanted to say that your Oxford video killed me. I was crying and I loved it. I really, truly loved it. That being said, I hate you for the challenge you turned around and gave me. It is so hard to just pick a handful of things to talk about, mostly because I could wax on forever about everything we did for like a billion hours. Luckily, you made it a little simpler by saying moments, so I felt like it more like had to be things we did. First thing I wanted to bring up, because it's short and sweet, is like literally being in Holmes Chapel and finding that bridge that Harry wrote his name on in This Is Us, and going to the bakery and just taking that walk, and it was so beautiful. It was so nice to be there and just funny and light and happy. And so like being in Holmes Chapel with you and Danielle is one of my happiest memories from study abroad. Another kind of short telling of a memory I have with you and Danielle is and Haley is like, clearly I have to say, the madness that was going to the Five Sauce concert and you getting lost on the tube, and then going to KFC and eating so much food, and me singing all weird and those girls being like, what? Like thinking I was dying. Like that whole trip, I guess, turned out to be such a debacle. That is one of the funniest and best stories I have in my whole life, let alone just like the study abroad semester. Like I was so worried but also mad and also so happy, and like I cried so much when you finally showed up, and it was just so intense. Okay, another one of my favorite study abroad memories, like hands down, is when I went to Barcelona and we went to the beach one day. Like we literally just went to the beach in the morning and that's all we did. And it was so fun. It was beautiful, and we ate the best pizza and opened like 1,000 straws, which doesn't seem that important, but it was so funny. It really was. Our friend Sim and I got to play volleyball with the kindest Spanish family, and they were super interested in us and like held really great conversations with us. I think they may have just seen us playing volleyball with the soccer ball we had bought, and they invited us to play, and it was so fun. They were super nice, and they kept calling me Valerie because I couldn't say Melody. I don't even care. I am Valerie to them, and that's fine. But yes, the day at the beach, and I got buried like up to my head, only sticking out in sand. That was so fun, and the pizza was so good, and just, yes, Barcelona beach day. Every moment from study abroad is my favorite memory, basically. But these next ones are like some of the ones that I held so preciously and like up on a pedestal. And the first one of those is when we were in Toulouse, and especially the days that we spent at the Japanese gardens and that playground that was there in Toulouse. And I really thought Toulouse and just being in that area like had more of the stereotypical like French vibe than actually Paris did, to me, TBH. It was just peaceful, and the gardens were gorge, and we rolled down the hills, and there was that swing saw thing. But honestly, all the playgrounds in France were awesome. They were killer. Like, I would love to grow up as a kid in France. They have the best playground equipment. They had this huge photo shoot of all of us, and we took, and like, I attack photobombed, and so did a bunch of other people. Sarah, it's like one of my favorite pictures from my whole life is this one that we took in the Toulouse Gardens that day. I made a flower crown, and there was pink, and it was so cute, and the weather was great, and there was this cute little food stand, which I love food stalls and trucks. Like, just, they bring me so much happiness. And the waffles that they sold were awesome. And the croque monsieur I had was awesome. I'm gonna pass away. I loved Toulouse. Okay, I probably had the most trouble picking one moment from Amsterdam because it is probably my favorite Oxford excluded city. They have giant pancakes bigger than your head and every single kind of transportation. We had our canal boyfriend, the stinking Van Gogh museum, Zonchersons. There's so many good smells and food, laughing and being so cute and goofy and fun at the I Amsterdam sign. But I'm going to have to say that my favorite memory from Amsterdam is definitely that first night we were there and we were going to the hostel, and all of a sudden like billions of people were getting on the metro. We were like, what is going on? And they're all like chanting and yelling, and I was like, and we got all pushed up, and like there were people everywhere around us. They were actually going to the game and they were getting all pumped up and doing cheers, and the guy next to me was kind of like, I can tell that you have no idea what's going on, you're not from here, and he did his best to speak English to me, told me like what was happening, that there was a game coming on, and they were doing these cheers, and like did his best to explain like what Super Yoden was. And he was just so kind, and then I got all into it and like was pumped up, and you and I tried to go to the game, but the line to get tickets and like tried like last minute tickets was so long, so we just hung out there and kind of people watched and bought jerseys and like researched Ajax from there, and all of a sudden like they're my favorite football team. Like I can't not love them. Okay, last and definitely not least, I'm about to scream because I love London with like my whole body and soul. And it was so hard to try and pick like one memory from there. So, since you didn't give me a number of things I had to talk about, I'm going to talk about all of my favorite things about London that we did there really quickly. Like the day you and I went, just the two of us, and like we went up Tower Bridge and we got in trouble taking pictures in the National History Museum, and then I dropped my really good sandwich on the ground and my umbrella flew away while we were in Primrose Hill yelling and blaming Harry Styles. And then like any moment we ever spent in Regent's or Hyde Park or Green Park, and like when like that first trip with what was her name? Missy, and like the dog, and like doing the on top of Primrose Hill. When we would go to Byron's, like but the one time we went before the football game, which was so cool. The one time we went to Byron's before we saw the musical Once, and Hannah and the Sim were going to Phantom. We both had to run because the tube was down. And speaking of Once, that one time we stood and we were the girls who waited with Mac for Arthur, and we didn't get to meet him, but it was still fun. And then poor Mackenzie on the train after that with Simon from Reading. And when we wandered around Camden Market that one day and eating at food stalls, which again, they make me so happy. Just like the cute stuff everybody had for sale there, and just we got to ride on the Before I Die wall, and the guy from the cupcake stand was super funny and nice. And the whole trip to Brixton, just in general, what a ride. And when we creeped around Canary Wharf, and just London, I could go on and on and on about it for the rest of my life. And just how kind of eclectic London feels, with like the different type of architecture and the different type of people that live there, and things you can do and see and eat, and take me back. Okay, so now it's time for Song of the Week! This week, I'm actually going to feature 2 songs of the week because I feel it's really important to do that. So that first song of the week is actually a song, it's pretty short, that Carrie Hope Fletcher wrote. It's called Not Sure at All. But as I was listening to it, I was like, oh, this is such a cute little love song. But then it kind of turns out to be more of like a heartbreak song, and I was like, well, I really like the vibe as more of a love song. And so I was like, what could it hurt to cover and make it kind of my own and change a little bit of the lyrics? First song of the week is actually me doing a cover of Carrie's song, Not Sure at All. And I hope you really enjoy it and it doesn't make your ears bleed. Second song of the week is obviously the single One D dropped on us out of nowhere, and it's incredible. One Direction's Drag Me Down. Everybody, I don't care what your opinion on them is, you have to go listen to this song. It is such a tune. It is a banger. It's incredible, like such an intense message, especially after the year they had, and it like that drive and Harry's runs and Liam's range. Ooh, perfecto, honestly, perfect. Next up is your challenge. Since you brought up the whole very mushy and sad and very, I felt attacked statement that this is our last time to move to Abilene, I want you to talk about Abilene and your favorite memories, being at ACU, or from club, or just us in our apartment, or whatevs. Just fun times that we've had, or you've had, pre being my friend. I guess those are all right. Anyway, I think that's all. And I love you. And I'll see you soon. And my next video will take place mostly in New York. Bye. Good luck with Wildcat Week.